Let's do native invert.
If I had to go with one, I'd go with the Hercules beetle. Yeah. We're at the northernmost, like in Pennsylvania, we're at the northernmost part of its range pretty much. So there's very few found here, probably because of the colder weather. And it's hard to connect people to like bigger beetles just because of how long their larval stage is, and like how specific weather patterns have to be in order for them to come out of their larval stages. I'm learning that with my death feigning beetles, like how hard it is to get it out of their larval stage, just because with the beetles that I have, then you have to like incubate them for, I think it's like 6 or 7 months in an incubator at a very consistent temperature. I think it's like 83 degrees. I could be wrong. But anyways, then yeah, I'd imagine it's the same for Hercules beetles and stuff like that. So
good choice.
Yeah, I have to look that one up.
Coming out of South Carolina, I'll preface by saying our current state insect in particular is the Carolina mantis.
Oh, that's sweet.
Everyone is going to love a praying mantis, right? I mean, just total like nature is metal style crazy bug. It's really hard to beat. I'm really pressed to pick one that is cooler than that. Although I will say, if you want a good insect that represents South Carolina, I would have to go with the straight up palmetto bug, which looks pretty similar to a cockroach. And I say that because they are just everywhere. I mean, you cannot get away from them in South Carolina. Like, you'll just be trying to walk somewhere at night and they're scurrying around in front of you. They get into your house and they get into your kitchen. No matter how clean you keep the place, there always seems to be palmetto bugs getting in. There's these big, gross-looking, cockroach-looking guys. And I feel like if we're going to pick a state invert to represent the state, then I think that one has to be the one, because I just can't seem to get away from these things. They're everywhere. The Carolina mantis is awesome, but I'm not seeing mantis every day. I'm seeing these every day, and I hate it.
Oh my! I would have picked the mantis if it was state insect. That's cool that you guys have that. I don't know how well they're doing. We have Carolina mantis up here, but the Chinese dominates. I think it killed them off. It took over a lot of their habitat. They do interact, but the Chinese mantis is just so much bigger. So, but sense. If I was going to go with one for Pennsylvania, I'd pick one that's probably trending, but a lot of people still haven't heard about it, and that would be the mason bee, the eastern mason bee, because that is one of the inverts that we prioritize for PA woods and forests. A lot of people don't even know how effective they are. So 30 mason bees can pollinate an entire cherry tree, and it takes hundreds of honeybees to do that. They're more effective pollinators, where they kamikaze the leaves and the flowers. So they're rubbing it all on their bodies instead of just on their legs. So they're getting even more pollen, and they can become more effective pollinators where they're at. There's something that is not aggressive, so you can have it and have children. And they also lay their eggs in like wood. So you can have the same exact location every year where these bees will come back, and for generations, they'll lay their eggs and they'll come out every year in the spring and pollinate. But they'll pollinate like trees, they'll pollinate crops that are native and stuff like that. My answer kind of goes with my state plant, because then they could pollinate the river birch and they'd both be happy.